Hi guys, welcome back. So now our Azure function is created. So let's go to the resource. So in the last video, we also discussed about the difference between Azure App Service and Azure Function. So another difference would be like as we said, there is a difference between the pricing model for a consumer perspective, but there is also another difference, that is the serverless compute. So in Azure Function, we do not manage the servers that run our code. But in case of Azure App Service, we have some sort of control over it. So this is like another difference if you want to differentiate. So once you are trying to create functions within a Azure Function app, so you have multiple input bindings, or you could say the templates that gives you ability to create certain types of Azure function. Now in this, like, you are going to see some options in there. One is HTTP trigger. So that means that this Azure functions is going to be called once you make an HTTP request to the Azure function. On the other hand, if you want a function to trigger after X amount of time or X amount of seconds, you can select the timer trigger. But if you want this function to trigger when something is pushed to the Azure queue storage, you can use this. And we have certain other bindings as well: IoT Hub, the SendGrid account, and RabbitMQ. So there are multiple options for you to like select from. So as a very basic example, we are going to select the HTTP trigger template, and let's give it a name. So let's call it call HTTP, and let's click on add. So it's going to create an application in Node.js, and we are going to edit this within the portal itself. So this is the beauty of it, like you can manage an Azure app service from within the Azure portal. You don't have to go to any editor to like push some code in there. So for this is like good for testing. So now we have this basic function. Let's test this out, and we're going to select the get. So like if you look at the code of this application, what it's doing is it's expecting a name parameter, whether it's in the query or in the body of the request. So for now we are going to send it a get request, and we'll put the value in the query parameter rather than the body of it. So let's call it testing Azure, and let's remove that body. Click on run. So now we have given it an input in a query function. So if you, let's see, like, yeah, this is the response of the call that we just sent, and it say hello Azure functions. This is the different part, like this is the input that we actually sent to the Azure function. So now as you can see, we created a simple Azure function, and it expected an HTTP call, and it got us response in HTTP via the output of it. But if you want to execute the same thing from the browser, you have to get the URL, get function URL, and let me pull this down a bit. So as you saw, we can also specify the query parameter from within the URL. So let's give it name, my name. So yeah, so this is the name of it. This is my name. So now, having done all this, the default binding structure that it expected an HTTP request, and it gave us an HTTP response. Now we actually don't want just an HTTP response. We want something like different. We want to create a file out of the response that we get. So we can add an output binding to it. And so first of all, we have to select a blob storage. So every Azure function have a blob storage associated to it. So this is the blob name, and so let's give it name uh, store Azure function. And so this will be the file name that gets created. So it's going to be in the out container. slash. So this is the container name. So let's call it the container name call http. Call http slash your file name. So let's create this within a text file, and the connection string will be stored in this environment variable. So let's click OK. Now having done this, once we call this Azure function, so we will see a file get created. But before that, we have to create, like we just created an output binding, but also from the code as well, we need to specify the value that gets sent to the output binding. So how to do this? So let's copy this line, and just before sending the response, we will like specify the I actually forgot the binding name. Actually, it should be Azure function, I think, or something like this. Yeah, I think it's Azure function. Yeah. So this is the output parameter name. We need to copy this, and we will go in there. Again, we need to copy from Notepad, and let's wait for this to get reloaded. So now let's give it Azure function. So this is the name of the blob that we actually created. So now you can pass it any string like creating a tutorial, and we are also like concatenating the name parameter as well. So let's save this and call this from within the Azure portal, and let's see whether we have a container created in the storage or not, and also we will see whether the file gets created with this content or not. So let's test and run this again. So let's call it a always and run this. uh, it's running. Yes, so it says hello AA, and now we need to check whether this file got created or not. So go to the home, and here all resources. So we look for the storage account. Yes, this is the storage account, and within this you will go to the containers. So remember the container name, it was the same as our function name, which was a call HTTP. If you go inside this, we have a file created, and its content should be the same as we specified in the string, like creating a tutorial plus name. So let's click on edit, or you can also download this. Yeah. So you just saw we created an output binding from an Azure function. So like once we called that Azure function, it gave us response in the form of creating a file and also in the form of an HTTP request. So you can add multiple output binding to the Azure function as well. So this is how we created uh, a blob storage, a blob output binding, where we created a blob of output file from an Azure function. So I hope you understood the concept. Thanks for watching.